All right, take a book and let's go to page 2816. We're going to talk about dividing rational numbers today. And just as a review, the dividend divided by the divisor is equal to the quotient. The quotient is the answer to a division problem. We all know how to divide. When we talk about dividing, sometimes we write it two ways. We go across 14 divided by 2, or sometimes we just write it over as a fraction, right? Well, I just had you write down in your notes basically these two problems, and the rule for division is fairly easy. We all know that a positive divided by a positive stays a positive. It wouldn't turn negative. There'd be no reason to change it to a negative. So we know that 14 divided by 2 is 7, right? We can check our multiplication, or division answer, just give it away, our division answer by doing what operation? We check division by its opposite, which is multiplication, right? So if our answer is 7, we take 7 times 2 and it becomes 14. We can do that in a lot of different problems that we have, just like when we study multiplication, we can check our answer by using the opposite of multiplication, which is division, all right? Now, what we're going to do here is just show you today and review division, but we're also going to do it in light of positive and negative numbers. So all you need to do, and just get this in your head the best that you can, if one number is negative and the other is positive, when you divide, it's always negative, okay? When both numbers are negative and you divide, it's always positive, all right? So just keep that in mind. Hang on to those thoughts. You'll see them as we review these. So let's do these problems on the board and try to help you out, okay? So 14 divided by 2, easy, 7. All right, sometimes it's across. In your book it might be across. In your book it might be a fraction, okay? This one has a sign though. The board's kind of messed up with the positive. This is a negative 72 and this is a positive 9. So according to our answer, a negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative. And what's 72 divided by 9, class? All right, 8, negative 8, and we can multiply the negative 8 times 9 and get negative 72 to check our answer, okay? 105 divided by a negative 21, also written like this. 105 divided by a negative 21. A positive divided by a negative is a negative according to over there. Remember that sometimes the negative 12 could be over positive 6, or it could be 12 divided by a negative 6. Doesn't matter where the negative's at. If there's only one negative and one positive and you're dividing, the answer is always negative, okay? So the answer here is going to be a negative 5, right? Okay? Negative 10 divided by a negative 5. Now because both are negative,
It's going to be a positive.
yep, my answer is going to be positive. So I'm going to have a positive 2 as an answer, all right? Let's mess around with some fractions just as a review. This is going to be a positive answer. What's a negative divided by a negative? It's going to be a positive answer. So this will be positive, this will be positive. Oh, this is a negative divided by positive. So this will be a negative, all right? So for our review, all right, when we divide two fractions, what happens to the second fraction? We do what?
Switch it around and
All right,
then
switch it around and we flip it, don't we? All right, and then we do the operation of multiplication. So 4/5 divided by 10/9 is the same as 4/5 times 9 over 10. All right, and remember we try our best to kind of cancel where we can so that our fraction isn't so huge in numbers. All right, if we divide that 4 by 2, we get 2. We divide that 10 by 2, we get 5. We know that 9 and 5 can't cancel. So 2 times 9 is what? 18. And 5 times 5 is 25. And that is not able to be reduced anymore. Okay? So that's what we have for an answer. All right, right here. What is negative 5 just as a fraction? Negative 5 over what? Negative 5 over 1, right? So anytime we have just a number by itself. Now, we have to make it a fraction because what are we going to do?
flip it.
We're going to flip it, aren't we? So 5/7 times, not negative 5 over 1, but what?
1/5.
1/5, all right? We know that our answer is going to be positive. Our 5's cancel, so our answer
1/7.
is 1/7, all right? Now, when we have mixed numbers in our next problem, which is going to be negative, 1 and 7/12, we have to turn both of them into improper, and then we're going to flip the second one, and then we're going to multiply, all right? Just a good review here. You've had this before, all right? So to take a 1 and 7/12 and turn it into improper, we do that by taking the denominator and multiplying it by the number. So what's 1 times 12? 12, and then we add the numerator. What's 12 plus 7? 19, right? And then we write it over the denominator, all right? 19 over 12. I'm not worried about the signs right now. I know it's going to be negative. So negative, 1 and 7 twelfths is 19 twelfths, all right? Let's do the same thing here. What's 7 times 5?
35.
35. What's 35 plus 3?
38.
38 over 5. But we're going to do what to it?
Flip it.
We're going to flip 38 over 5 and make it into what? 5 over 38, right? So times 5 over 38, all right? Got it? 19 and 38. Wonder what that turns into. 1 over what?
38.
2. Right? What's half of 38? Right around 19. Right? It's like this. 1 times 5.
5.
Right around 5. Okay? 12 times 2.
24.
All right. Can that be reduced anymore?
No.
No. When you give me answers in your homework, you're going to reduce them perfectly. You're not going to leave fractions like 5/10, 4/8, 3 over 12. That's a good way to just get points taken off. We're going to reduce, all right? But we don't walk away at 5/24, all right?
Negative.
It's a negative, all right? So let's not forget that either, okay? By the way, just as a note, negative 5 over 24, 5 over negative 24, and negative 5 over 24, okay? They all read the same thing, just so you're aware of it. This is a negative fraction. It can be written as a negative 5 over 24, it can be written as 5 over negative 24, and it can be written as a negative 5 over 24. This is the accepted method. Just put the negative in front of the fraction itself, okay? So just so you know. Now, let's talk about the reciprocal real quick. A number, right here, a number times its reciprocal is always 1, okay? So if I asked you, what is the reciprocal of 5, okay, the number 5, the reciprocal is always 1 over 5, or that number, right? Times the reciprocal. What is 5 times 1/5? 1, right? Because the 5's canceled. All right, you got that?
Yes.
Understand? So 3.2, its reciprocal would be 1 over 3.2. All right? Hey, what if I had a negative 7? All right? What's the reciprocal of a negative 7? 1 over a negative 7. Because a negative times a negative is a
Positive.
positive, right? So negative 7 times 7, all right? Negative 7 times 1 over 7, sorry, is equal to a positive 1, all right? That'll kind of help you out, all right? I think, let's do a couple more. This here is called a complex fraction. You know what a complex fraction is? It's like a fraction in a fraction. And when we have complex fractions, we generally have a line that's written a little longer. If I wrote this line like these lines, it would look a little funny. We don't do that. We want to make sure things are proper, okay? So that technically is like this, except this is written, all right, horizontally, and this is written vertically. So technically we could change this and make it look like this, 4/5 divided by a negative 1/2, all right? Well, again, what do we do to the second problem? The second fraction, we flip it, don't we? So it's the same as 4/5 times 2 over 1. Does anything cancel? No. So our answer, 4 times 2, is 8 divided by 5. And we don't change it to 1 3/5, we just kind of leave it there. We'll leave it as an improper fraction, okay? So 1 8/5, but our answer is what though? What's our answer? Positive divided by a negative.
Negative.
Is negative. So this is a negative 8/5, okay? So just remember that, all right? What's 4 as a fraction? 4 over
1.
4 over 1. All right? 2/3 times 1 over 4. And both of these are positive, so our answer is going to be positive. 2/4 cancels to 1/2, and it looks like we have 1/6 for an answer, okay? So the lesson really comes down to these two problems on your sticky note. Anything a negative divided by a positive, or a positive divided by a negative. Make sure you know that's negative. Anything with a negative divided by a negative is a positive. All of these that we've done, pretty basic division, all right? We all know that. One last thing to note that I don't think I probably put in the lesson, look on page number 31 at the top. All right, point three and 126, all right? Let me write this down just to kind of complete things. And you guys know this already, we've had this. 0.3 times 126, ready? 0.3 divided by 126, all right? The dividend, all right, actually it's not 126, it's 12.6, thank you, okay? The dividend is 12.6, the divisor is 0.3, but a divisor can never be, the divisor can never, ever, ever be a decimal, right? So we have to move it over how many? 1, okay? So if we move this over 1, the dividend has to be moved over 1, right? So the 6 goes out, so it's 126 divided by 3. And our decimal would go there. Now, it's not necessarily having to work the problem. 3 goes into 12 4 times, so it's what's 42, all right? But I think we all know that. We got to make sure that that outside number does not have a decimal, and we have to move it over the same number, okay? You'll have some of those as well. So let's just remember how to do the division and make sure we remember.